so the prudent understands we need to tighten up security. And so for all those shepherds out there attending congregations, houses of worship, first step is recognizing, hey, these people are worth protecting. It's a good thing to create a safe environment so that the Great Commission can roll down it.
John Lovell, thanks for joining us. I'm going to get right to the point. You would hope that when people gather together and worship their God according to their conscience, that there would be some sense of holiness, respect, reverence for that space, but that's not the case. And even in the UK this week, we saw another horrific tragedy. So I wanted to interview you about your specialization. You were in the military and now you're a pastor, and you have an entire course, I'm going to get right to it, that helps people fortify buildings. This can be a Christian church, this can be a Mormon Templar ward, this can be a Muslim mosque, this could be maybe a Christian school or a political get together at some building. Just what have you got to help people, and what experience helped you get ready to help them?
Sure. So I want to be a resource to houses of worship, particularly the Christian church where I'm pastoring, and every single Sunday we're meeting. We just want the Great Commission to be fulfilled. We would like to talk about Jesus all the time without demonic folks coming in and shooting the place to ribbons and killing kids or anything like that. And so you would think that wouldn't be too high of an ask. But here we are in 2025 and everything's sick, evil, and twisted. And what we could get away with before, you can't get away with anymore. And so the prudent understands we need to tighten up security. And so for all those shepherds out there attending congregations, houses of worship, first step is recognizing, hey, these people are worth protecting. It's a good thing to create a safe environment so that the Great Commission can roll down it. And so basically what I built was a 12-part church security series, and I've made it available for free. So I can make money elsewhere. This was something I wanted to do to serve the church free of charge. And so folks can access it if they go to the website watchwpsn.com. That's watchwpsn.com. Or there's an app, WPSN. You got to fish around and you'll find the free content, 12-part series, and it's going to help people build a church security plan. And it's amazing. What they'll find is there's very easy, low-hanging fruit things that they can do to get huge amounts of safety.
So what in your background helped you learn all of this? And I think it's interesting. You're a pastor, but then your prior job really works well with your current job to give you a special, unique ability to help people secure houses of worship.
Sure. So I was a special operations guy. I did 5 different tours to the Middle East, and my job was kind of seek and destroy. It was clearing buildings and taking down cities, and to be able to hunt down high value targets. And so when I got out of the military, I'd been converted to Christ in the military. And when I got out, I'm like, I want to serve Jesus. And I didn't know what else to do. I was pretty good at violence, and I thought I will join the pastoral protection team. And so I'm walking around with a headpiece and, checking folks, make sure they're not hurting my pastor. And so that was my very first way I was serving in the church. Since that time, I've been running a tactical training company for 9 or 10 years or so. And because I'm fluent in church and understanding what type of culture we want to create, but also understand the world of bad guys and how they hunt and how to mitigate the harm that they want to do, I can really work in both worlds to create something that works for the church and keeps people safe.
What would you say to the churches that really don't have a security plan? Maybe they feel like they're in a safe community. Maybe they're small. Maybe they've not had a history of real danger or threat. What would you say to those who feel like this may not be necessary?
Beware, beware. You as pastors, you have a certain duty of care. You're assembling a whole bunch of folks there and you've got no plan for them. I would remind you, a lot of these active killer events, they're happening in safe areas. They're happening in little kids' schools, for crying out loud. This should be the safest area of all, but it turns out that wolves always hunt in sheep pastures. And the sheep pasture, it's a very safe place. until a wolf comes in. And so beware. A lot of the places where people have been victimized were safe areas right up into the moment it wasn't.
So, what are some of the very basic things you get into just in the training curriculum? I'm encouraging every pastor and faith leader get it, get it for your team, go through it, be aware. Our team has used your material; they really love it, appreciate it. We've been running your playbook for years, so thank you for making it available. But just what are they going to get when they get the curriculum?
First off, I'll approach with just a theology of it. Perhaps some people in the church will think that it's not right for you to even do that, of like, let's trust the Lord with our security. I'm like, well, the Lord, salvation is of the Lord, but he still has us do evangelism. It's not like we stop evangelism because the Lord's going to save them. In the same way, the Lord has called certain folks to sacred protection. And who are we as pastors to deny them their sacred service to the Lord? So you got protectors, mobilize them and allow them to be part of a security team that perhaps you will never, ever need, but don't deny them a sacred service to the Lord. Also, I talk about building a church security team culture, everything from how to find the right leadership. Here's a hint. Don't hire the guy that's really gung-ho and wants to do it. I'll also make simple remarks of, hey, every single team in the church needs to be pastored. This one isn't an exception. Talk about training, talk about the type of culture, how you want your security members to present. They're not 1,000-yard stare guys giving everyone the stink eye and checking all the old ladies for shivs or something. They should be confused as greeters. They're smiling savages. And so the bad guys pick up that the protectors are there, but the normal congregants who aren't having any nefarious intent, they don't notice them. They just check them as normal greeters. And so there's a lot you can do by way of protecting the kids. Kids department is a huge, huge area with access control. You need medical plan. You need plans in case there was some type of emergency or an active killer event, something like that. All kind of standard operating procedures, radios, communication, all that kind of stuff of how do we go about protecting a pastor from the time that he arrives curbside to the time he departs. All of it is kind of covered in that 12-part series. It's far too much to really get our heads around right now, but that's just a few of the things. And some of it, it's so simple that of like, hey, if y'all just would get a cop car and put it out front, that would probably make almost everyone bypass your church. It's like $35 an hour you're paying cops for when you're during service times. And really, they're going to see that, be like, no, thanks. Let me find some place where cops aren't. And then a lot of congregants, you would think, oh, well, if we see a cop car, it won't be safe. And in our day and age, it's actually just the opposite. They don't mind a cop car being there. And then you get one extra person in your church. Your church grows in congregation by one. By the cop you hired. And so lots of little simple, easy things like that.
It's great. So, yeah, for those who are watching, statistically, we know that every once in a while there is a terror attack. Somebody's demonically oppressed or possessed and does evil. Historically, a lot of the violence in church, it's related to domestic violence, meaning there's some bad boyfriend or husband who's brutal to his woman or the children, and then she goes to the church. She is like, hey, help, can you buy my rent, pay my rent, can you help protect me, can you emotionally support me and the kids? He goes 0 to 60 because he feels like now he's not the total control freak able to exercise his control. Those guys roll into the church, and technically that's probably the greatest threat in most churches. So even if you're a congregation, you're like, well, we're not a high value target, we're not in an urban area, just those domestic issues. Sometimes the bad guys are ex-boyfriends or wife beating husbands, and those guys are some of the most dangerous guys. And what makes those guys perhaps most dangerous is oftentimes they've attended your church. They know the routine, they know where everything is, and also they have relationships, so they sneak in sort of undetected.
Right.
And so for all clergy and church leaders, this is your responsibility to empower your team, to ask your team, to invite your team to do this. I would encourage every pastor, senior leader Pick your security. Don't let somebody choose it for you. Make sure it's somebody you know, you love, you trust, somebody that you have a relationship with and they carry forth your values. The last thing you want is a guy who just loves guns and wants to walk around with one. That guy might be the greatest threat to your church, and he may not be stopping evil. He may be the source of it. So, yeah, John, in conclusion, again, anything that you would add, I want to keep it short. My goal is just drive everybody to your free resources, tell you we love you, we appreciate you, we thank you. You're a friend of our family, you're a friend of our ministry. You're an incredible man of God. You've got a beautiful family. I would encourage everybody to be praying for you to get a bigger building so you can, house your growing church. But anything you would add in closing, and again, where can they go to get the free course?
No, I just appreciate everybody who's waking up to the fact that there's demonic forces out there, and where they start to lose against the church in the war of ideas, they start resorting to violence, and that's happening. And so don't fall into the fallacy of thinking this is a small, quaint, and safe area. That's where the active killers are always going and hunting. And so I'd encourage that. Guys, you can check out the resource at watchwpsn.com or download the app, WPSN. And you may have to hit the browse feature, and then you can scroll down. You don't have to support us in any way. Just watch the 12-part series and then hit delete if you want to, but share it amongst your team. It really is just there because I do think it's going to save lives.
Appreciate you, my friend. Love you. Tell Becca, the boys, we said hi. Thank you.
We'll do it. Love to your family, sir.